Hey there. I was going to say, what's up? This is Jesse, Big Street Properties.
I'm Fred with Big Street Properties.
Let's talk about escalating a file.
Okay.
This is a term that we're familiar with because we employ this strategy all the time. Essentially, in the short sale process, you are assigned a liaison, a negotiator, a processor, some point of contact on the bank side who is supposed to be your point of contact.
Right.
And needless to say, more common than not, we call them and we leave a message. We email them and we don't get a response.
Right.
We call them and we leave a message. We call them and we sit on hold for an hour.
It's a black hole.
Right. And so we don't. If that was the only remedy, then we'd be kind of sunk. But
true.
Thankfully, we have this thing called escalation that we employ.
Mm-hmm.
And so why don't you explain what escalation is?
Well, escalation, like it says, is really, it's just a matter of going up the chain and finding someone that you can get a hold of that can assist you. And there's some indirect ways of getting it, direct ways. I've been unable to contact someone I needed to, called into customer service and kind of vented a little bit and been able to find out who that person's manager was that hadn't been able to get in contact with. Okay, there's someone else that I can try and get in contact with.
Right. I mean, so the method of escalation is if John Doe at Bank of America isn't helping me, then we go to John Doe's supervisor.
Right.
And if we don't get a quick response from John Doe's supervisor, then we go to John Doe's supervisor's supervisor. Mm-hmm. And we find as many points of contact as we can to get to someone who can make a decision. And sometimes we have to be downright rude. You know, if they're not getting the job done, we're not going to sit there and wait for them to get into a good mood.
Right.
So we have to find someone else. And so thankfully we've been doing this long enough that we have a pretty good tree for most of the banks that we work with, and we have resources where we can contact someone and ask for some help. That's generally a little bit higher in the chain. And so escalation is basically not accepting whatever the bank tells us and saying, okay, hey, we understand you believe this to be true. Here's the actual honest-to-God truth, and how can we keep moving this file forward?
Right.
And so I think this escalation, this theory of escalation, this process of escalation is actually responsible for our time frames being better than the average third-party negotiator or the average real estate agent's short sale time frames. Is that by not sitting there and waiting for them to work on their schedule, if we can push this file forward and even improve our time frames by a week to sometimes it's 6 weeks. I mean, it can be, if we can get a short sale approval in 4 to 8 weeks, that's our general average. That's compared to, I have a short sale that I'm trying to buy a house right now, that's a short sale. And we've been in the process for over 3 months.
Right.
And I don't feel like we're that close to an approval.
No, and that has its own set of circumstances where, you know, maybe an escalation would have helped and you would have been closed by now.
So this video is for them. We're gonna teach them how to escalate a file. So, yeah, so that's for today. That's what we want to talk about is escalation. We just want to make sure that you are, as the homeowner, you're aware that this is absolutely an arrow in our quiver. And it's a tool that any short sale agent should be using on a fairly regular basis. In fact, I'm going to tell Fred if he doesn't escalate once a day that he's not doing his job.
Okay.
Thanks, guys.
See ya.